Let's hit some anytime goal scorers as well as safe shots on goal for some of these goalies. Give me both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 185 compared to the over 1.5 that is at minus 120. Okay, you guys ready? Let's make some frickin' money. It's time for Pocket with Jo. Hey, good morning, everyone. Jo here of SportsGrid. It's time for Pocket with Jo over here on SportsGrid TV, on X as well as YouTube. Great to see all of you guys already jumping in those comments there. It's going to be an electric night on the ice as we prepare for game number 4. Now, we do see the Florida Panthers leading the series after a dominant win in game number 3, the last one out, winning that one 6-1. There was a late goal out there. You guys know, if you join me on Game Time Decisions, I end up riding with the exact number of goals at 6. That was coming in at like plus a 650. We weren't able to get it with that late one out there by Florida, by Rodriguez on the power play. But it was a good game. We were riding with the Florida Panthers in the first period on that puck line, laying a half a goal at that plus money, and we're able to get there. Now, Edmonton was just a mess in that last game. We saw Leon Draisaitl not show up, and we saw Connor McDavid really not be impactful in this game. The biggest impact out there for Connor McDavid, and the most time we really saw him on the screen, was when he took that big hit from Ekblad out there, so in the neutral zone. So we're seeing the Florida Panthers really strong in game number 3. Now, can we see Edmonton bounce back tonight? Well, let's get into it. Let's break these down. Seeing all your comments. Good morning, Matt, to you. Kev, good morning. Let's get going here. Seeing Hall in here as well. Let's get it tonight, Puckers. I love that saying. For sure. And Jo, good to see you here. Yeah, you've always got that over there with that last one. We were lucky to get that one to the over. We're going to go over a couple of stats here on why these teams are going over. It is a power play, and if they play a dirty game again, we're going to see those power play goals. So I'm very cautious with that total. This is the Stanley Cup Finals. We should see those low-scoring battles, but neither of these teams able to keep out of the box in that last game, pushing it to the over. Hall, I like where you're going. Nate Schmidt, really strong. Second power play unit. His power play point tonight is plus 500, so we're going to look at him. Rodriguez for the point. I like where you're going with Schmidt and Rodriguez just for the straight-up point at plus 450, so I think that is a solid way to go. The blue line. Afternoon from the blue land. The blue land. Where's the blue land? So let me know where the blue land is at. Smid Rodriguez assists plus 750 are your 2 playoff plays tonight. Rodriguez has made me some money and some coin. Yeah, and I don't blame you. Rodriguez and Nate Smith, you're getting great value for those players. The depth there of the Florida Panthers is so real. Ashley, good morning to you. I love that you're rolling with Nate Smith. A lot of love from Nate Smith coming in. Evan Bouchard for 4+ shots on goal. Bobrovsky for over on his saves. Yeah, Bobrovsky has been elite at getting those saves from Atlanta. Okay, good morning to you in Atlanta. Let's jump into today. My hair is like tickling the back of my arm, you guys. Sorry about that. Let's jump into the stats today. Now, thankfully, everything has opened up. I was going through goal scores, and that's why it's a couple minutes late here. I wanted to get these prices, get my bets in before we kicked off the show, and now those goal scores are open. So it looks like everything is back open on FanDuel. They must have just been doing some adjustments over there. So let's look at tonight's game and where we're seeing these lines. We have seen movement, money coming in on Edmonton. They were a bigger underdog after Monday's game, but they're now plus 126 on the money line here. The Florida Panthers at minus 152. We got a total of 6.5. Plus 108 to the over 6.5. So if you're like Jo out there and want that plus money on the over, that's a great value bet there, especially if these teams stay scrappy. The under is juicy at minus 132. The under in the last game was minus 128. Again, I didn't lay the juice on that under. I looked more at exact score because you're going to get better value there. Harder to hit, though, of course. That late goal really killed us. We almost had it. So total 6.5. I can't bet this one under with that kind of juice, but I do think we're going to see things tighten up. Let's just look at why I think things will tighten up. Looking at the stats, okay, so game number 3 was the most chippy out there from the minute that puck dropped. Now you got to wonder if we're going to see some of that momentum come into this game with the chippiness. There's been 12 5-on-5 goals in this series. So over 3 games, only 12 were scored 5-on-5. 8 were scored on the power play. So those power play goals really pushing this series to the over. And then there was a shorty. We did see, I believe it was Brad Marchand with the shorty. And then we also saw the Edmonton Oilers convert when they pulled Skinner in one of these games. So of all of the goals that we've seen, 8 have been on the power play. 1 has been a shorty on top of that, and 1 has been with the goaltender pulled. So really, 5-on-5 hockey, 12 goals. You've got to think both of these coaches are screaming for these teams to tighten up, to play more disciplined hockey. But can they do so? And that's the biggest question mark with this total. Can these teams come out, keep their heads straight on their shoulders, and not start these fights? Now, the problem with Edmonton, Florida is a dirty team. And I will say that even though I love and respect the Florida Panthers, Edmonton's dirty too. The problem is here what we saw in game 3. Edmonton was the one who got more calls on them out there. And, you look at Evander Kane, you look at these players saying it to the press. Well, the Florida Panthers are playing the cleaner of the dirtier games. They're not being called on their dirty plays. They're enticing, they're making the Edmonton Oilers react, and then the reaction is coming there. So looking at the last game, we saw 11 power play opportunities for the Florida Panthers, 3 conversions on those power plays, and then Edmonton with 6 power play opportunities. So you look at the 17 power play opportunities in that last game. We did see goals on 4 of those power plays, 1 out of Edmonton, which was the only goal of the game. Corey Perry able to score, and then 3 out of the Florida Panthers. So in the power play, we saw Rodriguez with the late goal, Ekblad with the goal in the 3rd period, and then we did see the other power play goal come in the 1st by Verhaeghe. The 5-on-5 scoring, we saw Brad Marchand open up the scoring after scoring the very last goal of the double overtime game in game 2. So he opened it back up. You got to talk about how strong he has been out here for the Florida Panthers. Great pickup at the trade deadline. Corey Perry scored that lone goal for the Edmonton Oilers on the power play in the 2nd period. Sam Reinhart got on the board, and Sam Reinhart's streaky, you guys. So keep him in your mind tonight when you're building those parlays. Once Sam Reinhart opens up his scoring, that's something that he loves to continue. He gets in that rhythm out there. We did see another goal out of Sam Bennett in that last game. Now, he's scored in the last 4 games out there, so rolling back into the last playoff series, and he's got 14 goals in the playoffs and 6 assists. So Sam Bennett really coming out so strong. When you look at the Conn Smythe, he actually has moved to the odds-on favorite to take the Conn Smythe. I checked it this morning. As of 2 days ago, you were getting plus money on Sam Bennett. You're now having to lay juice at -120. We know Connor McDavid was the favorite going into this series. You could even bet him to win the Conn Smythe and not raise the cup. And now it is really Sam Bennett is the forerunner here. We even saw Bobrovsky, the forerunner before Bennett in that last one. So that's where we're looking. That's who we're looking at for those goals in the last game. When we look at the faceoffs, who won those faceoffs, it was pretty tight, you guys, 51.6% going to the Edmonton Oilers. Those power plays, again, we saw the conversions. On the power plays, 3 of 11 opportunities. 11 opportunities. Edmonton frickin' needs to clean it up, and 1 of 6 for the Edmonton Oilers. Physicality-wise, Edmonton really was physical in that last game. 34 hits versus 26 for the Florida Panthers. 33 shots on goal for the Edmonton Oilers. Now, interesting, of those 33 shots on goal, only 1 was high danger. Edmonton's normally really strong at creating those high danger shots. So the 1 high danger shot was the shot by Corey Perry, which converted. The problem with Edmonton in that last game was, and hang on, let's just get, before I go off there, 31 shots for the Florida Panthers on Skinner. We know Skinner was pulled up. Calvin Pickard did come in. So 31 total shots by the Florida Panthers. But the problem with Edmonton in that last game is Bobrovsky. Bobrovsky was a freaking wall in the net. Now, of the 33 shots on him, he allowed 1 to go in. Of the rest of those shots, he only allowed 3 rebounds. Do you know how hard that is for a goaltender to only allow 3 rebounds in a game? The Edmonton Oilers, if they want to win this game, have to absolutely crash the net tonight. They have to find a way to get through the neutral zone too. You look at the Florida Panthers, their ability to make the Edmonton Oilers go through layer after layer in that neutral zone is absolutely insane. That is where Connor McDavid got rocked trying to go through that neutral zone. He tried to split between 2 players, and Ekblad just absolutely laid him out. So looking at Florida in the neutral zone, if Edmonton can't get through those layers and can't crash the net on Bobrovsky. And when we're talking about crashing the net, they have to fire and then get those second chance shots. If they're not able to get those high danger shots, those second chance shots, they have no shot of winning this game. But I do think they're going to bring it tonight. So look for those high danger second chance shots out of the Edmonton Oilers. Look for Florida to still continue to control that neutral zone. It's going to be harder for Edmonton to break through it. And then you look at that insane forecheck. The forecheck is absolutely electric out here for the Florida Panthers. They are all over Edmonton in this series. They're wearing them down. The deeper this series goes, the harder Florida is coming out. They seem to just get better and better each and every single game now. They are chippy. Both of these teams are chippy. But if Edmonton can do their job and not take those penalties, stay out of the box, crash the net, and just make it a long night for Bobrovsky, I think they have the ability to bounce back and win. For them to bounce back and win, they have to. Absolutely crucial for this team to come out in that first period. Now, we talked about it in game 1. They came out in the first period. They scored first, but then we saw Florida put up 2. So Florida won the first period. I didn't think Edmonton in game number 1 was going to be able to fight back and get the win, but they did. I think in this one, it's absolutely crucial for the mindset here of the Edmonton Oilers, especially after this many days off. Florida, how physical they have been. This has given them time to rest up and come back out with that energy, with that physicality. And you've had an Edmonton Oilers team sitting there questioning each and every single thing that they have done. So you got a Florida Panthers team rolling on a high into this game, and Edmonton questioning how they're going to get out of this hole. Now they're only down 1 game, but it really does feel like they are hugely down in the series. They need to tie it up and take it back to Edmonton 2-2 apiece for game number 5. Looking at the Edmonton Oilers tonight, I do think if they're able to do it, I'm staying off the full game, you guys, for sure. But if they're able to do it tonight, it has to be in that first period. I'm looking, firstly, lots of bets we can take in the first period. The over 1.5 goals in the first period at -138. It's a gross juice number, but I do think we get 2 goals. Both teams to score in the first period at +152. I love the plus money. I do think both of these teams are going to be able to come out strong quickly and hit each of these goaltenders. So both teams to score in the first period, the over 1.5 goals at -138. But what do I like better? There's always something I like better, you guys, and it's Edmonton in the first period. But it's not just Edmonton straight up on the money line. It's looking at Edmonton to net a couple of goals. The team total of the Edmonton Oilers in the first period over 1.5 goals is coming in at +330. Edmonton they need it. They have to come out. They have to hit Bobrovsky right away. And I do think we see a 2-1 style first period with the Edmonton Oilers up on top. So however you want to play that, I'm going to play where I'm getting the most plus money, the over 1.5 goals at +330. That also takes out the factor if Florida scores 2 goals in that first period as well, because we're still really unsure. Is it going to be Skinner? Is it going to be Calvin Pickard? I really haven't heard a definite on Skinner coming back. Now, I do think Kluber pulled him at the right time, got him out of there. And Skinner will come in with a better mindset. We know he has that ability to bounce back off of losses. Last game, it just wasn't his game, but that first goal wasn't his fault. You look at that first goal, the defense here, the Edmonton Oilers really has to do a better job at giving him that support out there. So I am looking for the Oilers to wake up in the first period, hit Bobrovsky right away, crash that net, don't take the penalties, get those goals. So if they go up in this game 2-0 in that first period, I'm coming back in on the Florida Panthers, either +1.5 or a sprinkle on that money line, because I freaking love the plus money. I do think this will be a roller coaster of a game where you're going to get one of these teams as they go down. Now, Florida comes out and opens up that scoring, and we're getting Edmonton at +200. plus 180 even, I'll hit the Edmonton Oilers at that plus money on the money line. And the same thing if we see Florida go down and we're seeing Florida at plus 200 price. I do think you can back and forth hedge this game out here as we go through the roller coaster of emotions. I don't think this one is that blowout that we saw in game number 3. So first period, my best bet in the first period is the Florida Panthers over 1.5 goals at plus 330. I then like the over 1.5 goals at minus 138 gross juice, but I do think we get 2 and then both teams to score at plus 154. Let's talk about, I'm going to stay off the full game. Like I said, I'm going to live bet these games. I'm going to come back in if the Oilers go down first, if it's close to plus 200, and if Florida goes down by a couple goals, I'll come back in on Florida. So I do think live betting on the money line, hedging each side. Let's look at some players and where I think we're going to go. Connor McDavid has to be pivotal in this game for the Edmonton Oilers. I do think you're just going to have to lay too much juice. I think Leon Draisaitl comes out and gets a goal tonight. I'll look at Leon Draisaitl for the goal. Again, let's pull up those odds because I weren't able to get them earlier. Leon is coming in at plus 115. It's gross, you guys. Plus 115 for an anytime goal. You're riding on the other side with Sam Bennett. Sam Bennett has been able to score continuously. 14 goals in the postseason. We're getting him at plus 195. So the book's really thinking Leon's going to get back on that score sheet. So I think you do have to look at depth here for the Edmonton Oilers. I can't take Leon for a goal at plus 115. If you're going to look at Leon, I would look at him for the 2+ goals. Leon Draisaitl for 2+ goals at plus 650. Sign me up. That's where I feel more comfortable getting that plus money. If I'm going to throw 50, 20 bucks on a bet, I would rather get the plus 650 money and then instead the plus 115, especially when he's so quiet in the last game. It's just not enough money. So I would look at Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid. You could play around with them. I do think they have to really come out strong. We saw Corey Perry with the only goal in the last game. Corey Perry really doing a great job stepping up for Zach Hyman. So I do like what we've seen out of him for Edmonton. Evan Bouchard. Now, it was interesting in that last game. Evan Bouchard, you really didn't hear much about this, but he was on the top power play. He got yanked off the top power play, and we saw Jake Wallman go up on that top power play. Now, Wallman is a little bit of a baby out there. Did you see his childish act spraying the water bottle into the Florida Panthers bench? I don't know. Wallman, if he doesn't spend too much time in the penalty box, should be able to get a point tonight. FanDuel does not have him for a point or a power play point. I found it on other books. If you can look on your other books for Jake Wallman for the point or the power play point, beautiful plus money on him for both. He could be back up on that top power play unit tonight. So if he's back up on that top power play unit, because I don't think Evan Bouchard's 100%, I think something's going on with him being yanked. You're going to get great money on Wallman. So he's on the top defensive pairing. He's on the second power play. Currently, we know that second power play can convert for the Edmonton Oilers as well. So the second power play unit is Jeff Skinner, Henrique, Evander Kane, Ekholm, and Wallman. If Wallman gets taken up to that first power play unit instead of Evan Bouchard, then it's Connor McDavid, Corey Perry, Ryan Nugent, Hopkins, and Leon Draisaitl. Fantastic power play unit, right? So I do think Wallman for the power play point is worth a look to either line that he's on that power play, because he is on that top defensive pairing. You could also look at just that point tonight, which again is plus money. Now, Ryan Nugent, Hopkins, Connor McDavid, and Connor Brown are currently listed on that top unit out there. Let me just see. Are we seeing anything? Corey Perry's still listed on the top power play unit. So I am not sure where they're throwing Corey Perry. They are throwing Corey Perry down to the fourth line with Janmark. That is really interesting to see. As long as these Edmonton lines are updated right now, you guys, we are seeing Corey Perry move down. Connor Brown moved up to that top line. So let's just look at Connor Brown for his point tonight and where we're getting him for the point. Because if Connor Brown is on that top line with Connor McDavid and Ryan Nugent Hopkins, I do think that is going to be a line that makes us money tonight. The second line, Leon Draisaitl, is with Evander Kane. So parlaying them for their points today might be great. But I do think Connor Brown here, I'm just jumping around to the points. If FanDuel gives you Connor Brown, they don't give you Connor Brown. If your book gives you Connor Brown, I would look at Connor Brown. I'm not going to open up a couple other books here, you guys, but do open up those couple other books. I was seeing if Connor Brown's listed for the assist. He's not listed for the assist either. What the hell? Why don't we just look at Connor Brown for the anytime goal? On that top line, we know Corey Perry has been able to score with Connor McDavid. Ryan Nugent Hopkins is plus 310. Connor McDavid's plus 150. And then if you look at Connor Brown, he's plus 700. Hell yeah. Sign me up for Connor Brown for an anytime goal at plus 700 with him on the top line, as long as daily faceoff is correct right now. We are seeing Connor Brown on that top line. So that is where I'm going to go. Connor Brown for the anytime goal at plus 700. I think it's a great one, you guys. Let's look at a couple of players here. And then again, circle Wallman if you can get Wallman on your books. If you think Wallman can get a goal, I wouldn't doubt it. He's really getting under the skin of these players out here. Wallman for the goals plus 1,300. So I don't hate it for a sprinkle, you guys. I think I probably will get there with the sprinkle on it. Now, you guys were talking a lot about Nate Smith, and I completely agree. Second power play unit and second line as well. You're looking at Nate Smith at plus 500 for a power play point tonight. That second power play unit's really been converting for the Florida Panthers. So if you want to look at Nate Smith, power play point or just his point, you're going to get plus money. Carter Verhaeghe, he's on the top line in the second power play unit. His power play point at plus 300. Sam Bennett, we know he's been straight fire. Second line, second power play unit. So I would look at all those three guys there. I also like Sam Reinhart for the power play point at plus 220 tonight. Brad Marchand for the anytime goal. Now, Brad Marchand coming out for the anytime goal is plus 240. So we are still getting plus money on Brad to come out nice and strong. You guys, it's going to be a great freaking game out there. Let me just go through all of your comments and then we will get to the recap. Yeah, it is really crazy. I can't believe how much value you can get on Nate Smith. You've got it at 6. Good luck, Joe, with your bet there. Edmonton, Moneyline, BC, laying the 3.5. You are talking my language. CFL. Yeah, we're going to have some CFL bets later today. So stay tuned for my Let's Talk CFL bets out there as well. Yeah, Chad Kelly. Chad Kelly, I don't think is suspended. I think he is just hurt right now. He was suspended last season. So you guys, let's make some freaking money out there on the ice. We're going to go over the recap here, and I want to wish you guys all the best in all of your bets today. So the Edmonton Oilers versus the Florida Panthers, game 4, best bet. We're going to go with my best bet of the day being Edmonton to start off freaking hot and hit Bobrovsky straight out of the gate. I will take the Edmonton Oilers team total in the first period over 1.5 goals at plus 330. I'm then going to look at the over 1.5 goals in the first period at minus 138 and both teams to score at plus 152. I'm going to stay off the total of this game because this is going to depend on how these teams are playing out there for chippiness. If they're chippy, we're going to see those power play goals convert. And I do think the Edmonton Oilers they're not getting the worst of it, but they took 11 penalties in the last game. So the power play points tonight for Florida is where I'm going to attack their props. And then for the Edmonton Oilers, I'm just going to look at them straight up for goals. So Connor Brown moved up to that top line per daily faceoff. We're seeing him at plus 700 alongside Connor McDavid and Ryan Nugent Hopkins. Plus 700 for Connor Brown for the anytime goal. I freaking love tonight on that top line. So I will be hitting that. I also think Jake Wallman is worth a sprinkle at plus 1,300 for his goal. It's a long shot. He's a defenseman out here. He's getting under the skin of everyone. But Sandal doesn't have for the point or the power play point. If you can get the point for Jake Wallman, I love it even more. So look at Jake Wallman on different books out there for his point tonight. I do think it's a really strong way to go. On the other side for the Florida Panthers, I think you look at the second power play unit other than Sam Reinhart. Sam Reinhart on that top power play. I'll take him for the power play point at plus 220. And then Nate Smith, Carter Verhaeghe, Sam Bennett, second power play unit. I would look at them. You either parlay their points or you put them straight in for the power play point tonight. Nate Smith coming in for plus 500 for the power play point. Carter Verhaeghe at plus 300 for the power play point, and Sam Bennett for his power play point. I believe it is plus 220. Let me just pull up his power play point again for Sam Bennett. You got to love what that second line has been doing out there for the Florida Panthers. So Sam Bennett coming in at plus 350. Actually, we're getting great value. You guys threw out Rodriguez. I agree with Rodriguez as well. This is going to be a freaking fantastic game. Remember, live betting these teams. If Florida goes up first and I'm getting a $2 underdog price for the Edmonton Oilers, I will take Edmonton on the money line. Right now at the price, I'm not willing to jump. So give me Edmonton plus money if they hit a $2 underdog. And then Florida, if Edmonton goes up first, please, let's see it. Let's see Edmonton go up 2-1 in that first period. That will give us the over 1.5 goals for the Edmonton Oilers. Remember, that's not like a puck line. That's just their team total over 1.5 goals. Don't take the puck line laying 1.5. Team total over 1.5 goals at plus 330. Great value. It doesn't matter if Florida wins that first period 3-2, as long as we get 2 goals out of Edmonton. But what I'm hoping here is to swing my bets on this one, hedge on either side at great plus money. So that is where Zach Collaros. Yeah, it's Collaros. Sorry, not Chad Kelly. If you guys could hit that like, subscribe, and retweet button, I would greatly appreciate it. But hitting those back and forth when we're getting a $2 underdog on either side, because I do think this one finishes in a tight game. Do we go to overtime in this game? I'm not sure if we go to overtime. It's going to depend on those power play opportunities out there and how many each team is giving up. You guys, all the best in all of your bets. Let's make some freaking money out there on the ice tonight. Thank you so much for joining me for a cup of Joe. It's going to be a great night. Let me know where you're going to be watching this game from tonight. If you're headed out to the pub, if you're going to watch at home on the couch, what you're doing, what you're serving for this game. We always talk about Sunday fun day. We talk about football and what everyone's eating. What do you guys eat for an NHL game out there? I don't know. There's nothing I like really go to. You know, you Sunday footballs, you put on the crock pot. That is not the the crock pot. So you put on the crock pot and, you have those comfort foods because we're moving like into the fall. So now we're June hockey, which is crazy. I don't love how long of a delay we had between these games, but June 12th, what are you making for dinner watching this game tonight? It's going to be a good one. I know, crock pot. It is a crock pot, not a pot. You know what I mean? If you guys could hit that like button. Thank you, Joe. Thank you so much. So let's make some freaking money out there on the ice tonight. Be back on Saturday. We have a Saturday game. So Saturday, it will be back in Edmonton. Right now, there are no odds out on this game as of yet. We will see if Edmonton has their backs up against a wall in the next game or if they're able to survive this one here and bring the series tied 2-2 apiece. The Edmonton Oilers, we know, in the last season, remember, this is a rematch. They went down 3-0 and were able to bounce back, win the next 3, push it to game 7 in which they lost. So it's going to be really interesting here to see what Edmonton can bring here tonight. So that's funny, Joe. Last Stanley Cup game on Monday night, I had pho as well, beef pho, raw pho. It was delicious. So enjoy your pho tonight, you guys. All the best in all of your bets. We'll see you back here Saturday. And don't forget, I'll be live Saturday afternoon with Scott Wetzel as well. We'll see you then, you guys. Bye now. Hit some anytime goal scorers as well as safe shots on goal for some of these goalies.